Hello guys, this is Pustakverma and you are watching Pustakverma Education for All YouTube channel. And today we are going to discuss about an essay why is Renaissance important. Renaissance भनेको पुनर्जागरण पुनर्जागरण किन महत्त्वपूर्ण छ From Unit 11 Art and Creation कला र सिर्जना and grammatical section relative clauses from grade 11 compulsory English new course. The very famous proverb by George Bernard Shaw. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at least you create what you will. यसले के देखाउँछ इमेजिनेसन बिगिनिङ अफ क्रिएसन हो हामी जे इमेजिन गर्छौँ जे इच्छा हाम्रो मनमा हुन्छ त्यही कुरा इमेजिन गर्छौँ र हामीले त्यही कुरा प्राप्त गर्ने नै छौँ देन अबाउट the questions which are mentioned before the reading is पढ्नुभन्दा अगाडि केही क्वेशन्सहरू दिएका छन् we will discuss about that question first one is that why is this painting famous for the painting of Mona Lisa is presented in our text and why is it famous for के को लागि अथवा what is it famous for किन यो प्रसिद्ध छ के को लागि प्रसिद्ध छ the painting is famous for her smile her eyes her gaze her back and the background landscapes and the beauty of the object and so on. The name any three famous writers are artists of Nepal. नेपालको three famous writer or artist को बारेमा लेख्ने and why they are famous त्यो पनि mention गर्ने. The first one is Dil Bahadur Chitrakar, one of the famous artists of Nepal, famous for ironic painting. Orniko, the most famous artist of Nepal for a golden stupa in Tibet. Vidhata Kesi, one of the famous artists of Nepal for socializing paintings. The chapter is also about Leonardo da Vinci and Leonardo da's life. He was born in Vinci, Italy on April 15, 1452. His father was Sir Pharaoh and his mother was Caterina, and he was educated very well in his youth and was finally apprenticed to Andrea del Verrocchio in 1466, who was the painter and sculptor. Essentially, we will know something about the Leonardo's life through this. Renaissance, what does the term Renaissance means? त्यसलाई हामीले पुनर्जागरण भन्छौँ. पुनर्जागरण literally means it is a period in European history between 14 to 17th century. 14 देखि 17th century को बिचको पिरियडलाई हामीले के भन्छौँ रेनेसा पिरियड भन्छौँ जहाँ के गर्यो where there was a new interest in science and in ancient art. यसको रिभाइभल यसको पुनर्जन्म यस अथवा यसलाई हामीले रिनेसा पुनर्जागरण हुनुलाई हामीले के भनेको छ especially in Italy. What was Renaissance? Renaissance was a cultural movement and a time of renewal. Europe was recovering from the dark ages and the Black Death or bubonic plague भन्छ यसको term as we talks about Renaissance there comes the term Black Death or bubonic plagues भन्ने term जोडिएको हुन्छ त यहाँ दिएको छ the Black Death or the Black Plague or bubonic plagues 1347 देखि 1350 सम्म एउटा पेन्डेमिक पिरियड एकदमै अथवा miserable condition that devastated Europe and Asia's population. The plague was an unprecedented human tragedy in Italy. The Black Death marked an end of era in Italy and its impact was profound, resulting in wide-ranging social, economic, cultural and religious changes later in the Europe. So, Milada Broukal is the author of the chapter, has taught English for over 30 years in North America and Europe. She has worked in all areas of field including syllabus design, teacher training, classroom teaching, and has been the director of study in her own school. She is the author of over 30 successful textbooks including the series Weaving It Together, Thompson's Henley Test Preparation Assistant series and the recently published Check It Out series. So basically as we talks about this Renaissance period, it was famous for three things. तीनवटा चीजको लागि रेनेसालाई हामीले एसोसिएट गर्न सक्छौं. The first one was printing press भन्छ. यो भइहाल्यो तपाईहरुको printing press भन्छ which revived the ancient art कल्चर, ट्रेडिसन्स, लिटरेचर जसलाई के गर्यो त यो पहिलो प्रिन्टिङ प्रेस यसले के गर्यो रिभाइभल अफ सो मेनी एन्सियन्ट आर्ट कल्चर एन्ड लिटरेचर. सेकेन्ड वाज कम्पास यसले के गर्यो हेल्प द पिपल इन डिस्कभरी of the new and new things and even adventurous tasks. The third one was gunpowder, printing press, compass, and gunpowder. These were the three basic things can be associated with the development or origin of this Renaissance. यिनीहरूले ठुलो सहयोग गरे. यस प्रिन्टिङ प्रेसले बाइबललाई ट्रान्सलेटेड गरेर इङ्ग्लिस ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा विभिन्न के गर्यो लार्ज नम्बर अफ भल्युम अफ बुक्सहरूमा प्रिन्टेड गर्यो. हरेक मान्छेले बाइबल पढ्ने अधिकार पाए. कम्पासले मान्छेहरूलाई नयाँ नयाँ ठाउँ डिस्कभरी गर्न, यसले मान्छेहरूलाई यो गन पाउडरले एडभेन्चरस हुनमा पनि सहयोग गर्यो. यसरी दिस थ्री थिङ्स सपोर्टेड अ लट इन द रेजिङ अफ रेनेसा पिरियड इन इटली एज वेल एज इन युरोप. Then some of the glossaries is difficult words from the chapter Why is Renaissance important? Renaissance पुनर्जागरण, forefathers पुर्खाहरू, scarce दुर्लभ, फ्लोरिस्ट फलायो, स्कलर्स विद्वानहरू, प्रिसियस बहुमूल्य, कन्भेन्सन्स अधिवेशन्सहरू, अब्स्टेकल्स अवरोध, मास्टरपिस उत्कृष्ट नमुना, आर्किटेक्चर वास्तुकला, ब्लेन्डेड मिश्रित, क्याथेड्रल गिर्जाघर, स्यालर्स नाविकहरू, भोएज समुद्र यात्रा, रूट एक्सप्लोरर अन्वेषक, नेभिगेसन जहाज सञ्चालन गर्ने कला, लिटरेचर साहित्य. Then about the chapter Why is Renaissance important by Broukal Milada. Summaries and main point. Literary Renaissance means rebirth or reawakening, and the name refers to the rebirth of classical, especially Greek learning upon centuries of comparative neglect. जो शताब्दीदेखि नेग्लेक्ट गरिएको थियो त्यो चिजहरूको रिभाइभल के गर्छ दैट कम्स अंडर दिस रिनेसा आर rebirth. But this revived interest in only parts of a larger change point of view. It is related to the questioning of tradition, rise of scientific spirit, emphasis on the complete development of the individual, and concentration of attentions of this present world rather than the next. Renaissance took place in Europe between 13th to 16th century. यसको बीचमा 13 देखि 16 सेन्चुरीको बीचमा घट्यो. And with an stage of the history of the world, characteristics of Renaissance include a renewed interest in classical antiquity. प्राचीन संस्कृति साहित्य कुराहरूमा एउटा मान्छेहरूको खोजीको इन्ट्रेस्ट आयो. रेज ह्युमनिस्ट फिलोसफी, यस मानव जो एउटा मानव शास्त्रीहरूको अथवा मानवताको एउटा जो दर्शन शास्त्र आयो त्यसको लागि रेडिकल चेन्जेस इन द आइडियाज अबाउट रिलिजन, पोलिटिक्स एन्ड साइन्स. धर्म, संस्कृति, राजनीति, साइन्समा के गर्यो एउटा नयाँ किसिमको सोच, इनोभेटिभ सोच र इनोभेटिभ आइडियाजहरू डेभलप्ड भयो. सम पिपल बिलिभ दैट रेनेसा बिगन विथ द इन्भेन्सन अफ टर्क्स ओभर द ग्रीक सिटी. जसरी टर्क्सहरूले ग्रीक सिटीमाथि आक्रमण गरेका थिए, जसलाई हामीले नाउ इस्तानबुल भन्छौँ, त्यसरी नै रेनेसा सुरु भयो. And then later in the different parts of the Europe with their new locations, and thought they shared precious books and new desires for the learning spread throughout the Europe. In Germany, Martin Luther started a revolt against the convention of Roman Catholics Church, and soon Christians agreed to change the several rigid thoughts related to Christianity. रेनेसा बिगिन इन इटली. किन रेनेसा इटलीमै सुरु भयो यहाँ दिएको छ. देयर आर सम रिजन दैट रेनेसा बिगन इन इटली बिकज अफ फलोइङ रिजन. इट हैज बीन द हार्ट आर होम अफ रोमन इम्पायर. रोमन इम्पायरको एउटा सेन्टर हार्ट थियो. एक्सटेन्सिभ स्कलरली एक्टिभिटिज रेकर्डेड भाइटल एन्सियन्ट वर्क्स. त्यहाँ स्कलरहरू विद्वानहरू बढी थिए र विभिन्न एक्टिभिटिजहरू रेकर्डेड गरियो. इट्स सिटी स्टेट्स अलोड आर्ट न्यू आइडियाज टु फ्लोरिस. त्यहाँ हरेक त्यहाँको गभर्मेन्ट त्यहाँको मान्छेहरूले यो आर्ट कल्चरको आइडियाजहरूलाई फ्लोरिस गर्नमा सहयोग गरेका थिए. भास्ट ट्रेडिङ लिङ्क इन्करेज कल्चरल एन्ड मेटेरियल exchange. The Vatican City was rich and powerful patron, and it was inspired by humanism, and it was the rediscovery of ancient Western learning. In the same way, the most famous political thinker Renaissance was Nicolo Machiavelli. In his books entitled The Prince, he stated that a good leader could be bad and dishonest things in order to preserve his power and protect his government. एउटा गुड लिडर पनि ब्याड हुन सक्छ यदि उसले के गर्छ आफ्नो पावर र गभर्मेन्टलाई प्रोटेक्ट गर्न. ड्युरिङ दिस टाइम people took him and his saying as evil, but Today, his book and was thought one of the most famous political thinkers respect. Artistic development of the Renaissance first flourished in Italy city, Florence, and then other Italian city like Venice, Milan, and became the very wealthy, not only in music, art, poetry, but also in the finance and time. These cities produced great painters, sculptors such as Michelangelo, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, the burning examples, and one of the finest art creations was Vatican Sistines carved fit in ceiling, माथि सिलिङमा बनाइएको. A new kind of architecture was introduced by the architect Filippo Brunelleschi, who invented a new type of dome, is killa भन्छ, higher and grander than any form of classical. The concept of Renaissance man and Renaissance women. Renaissance man को concept, Renaissance women को concept. Renaissance man also called universal man. Italian uomo universal, an ideal that developed in Renaissance. Italy from the notion expressed by one of his most accomplished representatives, Leon Battista Alberti, that a man who can do all things if he will. Renaissance man भनेको according to S. Leon Battista Alberti, a man who can do all things, त्यस्तो अथवा रेनेसा पिरियडमा मान्छेलाई एउटा राम्रो इमेज दिएको थियो. तर रेनेसा women refers to the women like that of the middle ages were denied from all political rights and considerably legal subject to their husband. उनीहरू आफ्नो हस्बेन्डसँग जोडिएर तिनीहरूलाई इमेज दियो. मेल कम्प्लिटली फ्री गरियो. Femaleहरूलाई associated with their husbands. Women of all classes were expected to perform first and foremost the duties of housewife. उनीहरूलाई के गरियो त हाउसवाइफको ड्युटीमा एसोसिएट गरेर राखियो. Interest in art and new ways of thinking developed to other countries. Consequently, England produced writers like Shakespeare. Spain had the literature of Cervantes, and the many amazing new discoveries came into existence by the Galileo, the sun, not the earth as the center of the solar system. Kepler and Newton developed a printing press brought a revolution. A significant invention in Germany by Johannes Gutenberg spread the new ideas of Renaissance. It helped the works of best writers and all kinds of religious as well as philosophical knowledge available to all. By the invention of compass, sailors like Columbus, Vasco da Gama's Magellan, and Drake set out far away to the voyage of discoveries and discovered new lands like America. It developed tools for the exploration and navigation, better ships, better concept of exports and the imports in trade. Thus, Renaissance didn't begin suddenly when Constantinople Constantinople was taken over by the Turks when the first printed in 1455 rather through long process of many years and it came into existence. So then about some of the paintings and development of the Renaissance period. Leonardo da Vinci by अथवा Leonardo da Vinci and Mona Lisa. यो Leonardo da Vinci painter and this Mona Lisa. Raphael's greatest works, The School of Athens. Raphael'sको यो भइहाल्यो पेन्टिङ्स. नेक्स्ट Michelangelo and his Sistine Chapel. यो एकदमै उसमा माथि सिलिङमा बनाइएको एकदमै फेमस पेन्टिङ्स थियो. वर्ल्ड फेमस पेन्टिङ्स. इट इज स्टिल रिगार्डेड एज वान अफ द ग्रेटेस्ट पेन्टिङ्सको रूपमा लिने गरिन्छ. द एडोरेसन अफ द Shepherds by Hugo van der Goes in the Uffizi Gallery of Florence. Ways with words. केही वर्ड्सहरू छन् तिनीहरूलाई and choose the correct words from the textbooks. त्यसको लागि करेक्ट वर्ड्सहरू चुज गर्दै जाने भनेछ. So circle the correct meanings of the underlined words. The first one, Martin Luther started a revolt against the conventions of the Roman Catholic Church. Conventions refers to customs. तीनवटा मध्ये एउटा फोरवटा दिएको छ. यसमध्ये एउटा छान्ने underline गरेको वर्डसँग similar word customs. It blended classical styles and new ideas. Blended refers to mixed together. The dome marks the beginning of the Renaissance architecture. Marks refers to serve as a sign of. The art flourished during the Renaissance. Flourished refers to grew and improved. The new passion. Passion refers to enthusiasm. What do the following idioms mean? तलको यो वर्डहरूले के अथवा फ्रेजहरूले के मिन गर्छन्? A hot potato भनेको controversial situations. The issue of gun control is a political hot potato in the United States. Once in a blue moon भनेको कहिले blue moon देखा अब not very often rarely कहिले काहीँ rarely I think my grandson doesn't love me anymore and he comes to see me only once in a blue moon भनेको कहिले काहीँ मात्र आउँछ bed of roses comfortable bed and when pigs fly यो भनेको impossible चिज असम्भव चिज यस कुनै पनि चिज नघट्ने घटनालाई भन्छ I think he will pay you back your money which when pigs fly miss the boat भनेको miss an opportunity चान्सहरु मिस गर्नु zip your lips भनेको shut up yes fight tooth and nail भनेको fight great ferocity एकदमै ठूलो भयंकर लडाई भन्छ when life gives you lemon make lemonade जब तिमीलाई लाइफले अपर्च्युनिटी दिन्छ अथवा लाइफले तिमीलाई नेगेटिभ दिन्छ नेगेटिभ सेन्स दिन्छ नेगेटिभलाई पनि पोजिटिभ लिएर अगाडि बढ्ने turn bitter to sweet My uncle lost his job but he started his own business. He said to me, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Goose X, I score up zero. Last month of revenue for the company. Goose X भनेको score up zero, केही प्राप्त नगर्नु. Last month's revenue was the company was a big zero, a big goose X. Match the following words, following phrase verbs with their meanings. Breakdown can be matched with to stop functioning. Check out can be matched with to leave a hotel. Fed up, दिक्क tired of something. Fill out to complete the form. Get away to escape, भाग्नु. Give away, छोड्नु to give something for someone's free. Give up, त्याग्नु, छोड्नु, quit a habit. Look forward, wait anxiously, पर्खनु. Make up, to invent a story, a lie. Pass away, die, मर्नु. Put out, extinguish. Take off, to remove clothes or shoes. Comprehensions. Answer the following questions. Answer these questions. Question A. What does the word Renaissance mean? Which language is it derived from? The word Renaissance means rebirth. It is derived from French language. What did the Greek scholars do in their new locations after leaving the Greek city? Greek city छोडेर new scholars के गरे? The Greek scholar taught Greeks and shared their precious books in their new locations after leaving the Greek city. How did new learning teach people to think in different ways? कसरी नयाँ लर्निङले मान्छेहरूलाई फरक तरिकाले सोच्नमा अथवा सोच्न लगायो? The new learning taught people to think in different ways, encouraging them to paint pictures, make statues and buildings, and write great literature. Describe the artistic development of Renaissance in brief. The artistic development of Renaissance लाई ब्रिफमा छोटोमा डिस्क्राइब गर. The artistic development of Renaissance first happened in the Italian city of Florence and then they spread to other Italian cities. As a result of trade, banking, cities like Florence, Venice and Milan became very wealthy and the rich citizens had both time and the money to enjoy music, art and poetry. These cities produced great painters and sculptors like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci and Raphael, and these artists created some history's finest works of art. Name the three Renaissance scientists who made great discoveries: Galileo, Kepler, and Newton. Who developed the printing press? Johannes Gutenberg developed the printing press, and he was from Germany. Why is the development of the printing press considered as one of the gifts of Renaissance? Development of printing press is considered as one of the gifts of Renaissance because it helped make the words of the best writers and all kinds of knowledge available to all. Name the five famous explorers of Renaissance: Columbus, Vasco da Gama, Cabot, Magellan, and Drake. Why do some people think of the Renaissance as the beginning of modern history? Some people think of the Renaissance as the beginning of modern history because Renaissance formed the basics for many parts of our modern life and beliefs. What do you infer from the reading? Tick the best answer. Before the Renaissance, education was limited to scholars and privileged people. Which statement is true? The first one, the Greek had a strong influence on Renaissance thinking. What did the Renaissance do question is it caused people to make changes in their lives. What were the major causes of Renaissance printings, readings, and learnings? Critical thinkings. Do you agree with the Machiavelli's views that a good leader can do bad and dishonest things in order to preserve his power and protect his government? Maca Machiavelliले के भन्छन् एउटा गुड लिडरले ब्याड थिङ्सहरू पनि गर्न सक्छ डिसअनेस्ट थिङ गर्न सक्छ टु प्रिजर्भ हिज पावर एन्ड प्रोटेक्ट हिज गभर्मेन्ट The leaders whose goal is to source of power, boundless wealth, or the fame that comes with success often appear self-centered, and this desire is so strong that the leaders break the moral standards which formally govern their conduct. Many leaders get to the top position by imposing their will on others, even destroying people standing in the ways. Before taking on the leadership role, anyone should ask themselves what is the purpose of their leaderships. If the sincere answer is power, position, wealth, leaders are at risk of depending upon the external gratifications for fulfillment. Machiavelli argues it is ethical for a prince or a leader to involve in dishonest activities, disobey and break the established rules or save his power and protect positions. To prove himself good or honest, and to preserve his power and protect his government, he makes a siege of mistakes as well. Do you think art and literature are important assets of a country? आर्ट र लिटरेचर कला र साहित्य के हुन् देशको एउटा प्रमुख धरोहर हुन् भनेर भन्छ. Art and literature have social, cultural, economic values, and since they represent the entire nations, they are our identity. These entities are equal as other national products. A piece of art or literature carries the cultural and social values. They allow people from different cultures to different times communicate with each other through images, sounds, and the stories. Art and literature is often a medium for social change. It can give a voice to politically and socially marginalized people as well. Their popularity helps the society to gain the worldwide recognition. Art and literature also has utilitarian impact on the society. They not only fulfill the human needs for self-expression but also economically important. Creation, management, and distributions of them creates jobs for many, and the product of art and literature can contribute to the national income as well. Therefore, we can say that art and literature are the important assets of a country. Right, an essay on literature is the reflection of the society. The word literature has its roots from the Latin word literature or litera was used to refer all written account. In Oxford Dictionary, literature is defined as a pieces of writing that are valued as a work of art, especially novels, plays, and poems. Many authors have been represented social, political, and ecological, historical, scientific phenomena in their works. All literary genres, including drama, novels, poetry, short stories, etc., get their shapes from the social background. The society creates literature because of all traditions, customs, religions, stories reflect through the literary works, but the excellence and natural surroundings of the reflection of hints of the writer's approach of mind, whether he is enlightened in his outlooks or conservative. Obviously, we can say that literature is the reflection of the society. किनकि जे घटनाहरू समाजमा घटेका हुन्छन् त्यसलाई के गरेको हुन्छन् स्कलर्सहरूले लिटरेचरको माध्यमद्वारा के गरेको हुन्छन् प्रेजेन्ट गरेको हुन्छन्. Thus, we can say that literature is the reflection of the society. That is why literature is the mirror of the society because it is tough with all human emotions, activities including good and bad, social and political happenings. All our glorious past has secured the literary pages so that today's generation gain knowledge about the myths of Ramayana, Mahabharata, Old Testament and the Bible. It is only possible by the literary sources that present generations know who were our forefathers, our ancestors and how the human came into existence. It is said that today's leader will tomorrow's leader. Do you agree with this statement? आजको लिडर भोलि आजको रिडर भोलिको लिडर हुनेछ के यो स्टेटमेन्टसँग तपाईँ सहमत हुनुहुन्छ? मार्गरेट फुलर is the author of the famous quote, today's a reader, tomorrow a leader. Undoubtedly, reading is essential for all-round development of the personalities. Bacon, the great British writer and the philosopher, has rightly said, reading makes a full man, writing an exact man, and conference a ready man. So reading is essential basic skills building activities. One's language fluency is determined by the qualities of reading. Beside vocabulary enrichment, ideas and collections, familiarizations with different types of writing formats, speaking fluency etc. all depends upon the reading. In all cultures and civilization, much stress is laid on reading. So school, college and other academic institutes use readings as a major tools in imparting education to the students. However, in the modern times, this activity is being ignored. Reading provides insights from field outside our own experience and expertise that can be applied in new ways. The great example is the impact and the field of mindfulness is having on individuals and leadership in organizations nowadays. In order to promote the wholesome readings habit among the children and youth, government must set up the libraries in all cities, towns and villages. If we can provide them smartphone, computers, internet and other digital facilities so easily, why not provide them books to develop their mind positively? One thing is absolutely clear: if we want our children to become great leaders in the future, we must make them great readers in the present. Thus, it enhances overall development of the readers or the citizens who have continuous reading practices. Today's reader, tomorrow's leader. Margaret Fuller. If you have knowledge, let others light the candles in it. Margaret Fullerले भनेकी छिन्. Write a short biography of the national literary, artistic, historical figures you appreciate most. The about भानुभक्त आचार्य यहाँ के गरिएको छ मेन्सन्स गरिएको छ. We know very well about Bhanubhakta Acharya, a very learned man in Sanskrit, also had a shortage of wealthy and property. उनी एउटा के थिए त received his childhood education from his grandfathers अथवा भानुभक्तले रामायणलाई पनि के गरेका छन् ट्रान्सलेट गरेका छन् यसरी उनी के थिए त एउटा ग्रेट स्कलर्स अफ दि कन्ट्री यस हिस्टोरिकल फिगर्सको रूपमा पनि लिन सकिन्छ अनि उनले के गरेका छन् आचार्य गिभ्स इम्पोर्टेन्ट टु स्टार नेपाली ल्याङ्ग्वेजलाई बढी उनले ध्यान दिएका छन् दस अबाउट 23 years after Bhanubhakta died. Yes, 23 वर्षपछि उनी के गरे मरे he started to be known as among the Nepalese people. नेपाली पोएटको रूपमा उनी लिटरेचरमा चिनिएका छन्. भानु जयन्ती पनि हामीले के गर्छौं मनाउने गर्छौं. यो अबाउट भइहाल्यो. फ्याक्ट अबाउट भानुभक्तमा के भन्न सक्छौं ट्रान्सलेटेड रामायण इन नेपाली ल्याङ्ग्वेज taught selfless to the common people through Ghasi poem, contributed to the Nepali literature in several other ways, got titled as the Adikavi, unle Adikavi को रूपमा चिन्ने गरिन्छ, was named as a national heroes of Nepal. Then about the grammatical sections, defining अथवा relative clause. त यहाँ defining relative clause भनेको के हो? It gives us essential information that tells us who or what we are talking about. कसको बारेमा कुरा गरिरहेका छौं? He found the things. कुन things त? Which he wanted. जुन उनले चाहेको थियो. Here which is used as a relative clause. The girl whom you meet, जसलाई तिमीले भेट्यौ in the hall is a dancer. The tree that stands by the gate bears lovely flowers. Non-defining relating clause यो defining relating clause भइहाल्यो. यसमा कमाको युज हुँदैन. अब non-defining relative clause भनेको के भइहाल्यो gives an extra information. यहाँ यो इन्फर्मेसन इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ र यसलाई छुट्याउन सकिदैन. त्यसलाई हामीले defining relative clause भन्छौं. यदि घटना त्यो इभेन्टलाई छुट्याउँदा पनि इन्फर्मेसन दिइरहेको छ गिभ एन एक्स्ट्रा इन्फर्मेसन विच इज नट नेसेसरी वी युज कमा टु सेपरेट देम फ्रम द रेस्ट अफ द सेन्टेन्स अनलेस दे कम एट द एन्ड अफ द सेन्टेन्स व्हेन वी युज कमा एन्ड अ फुल स्टप द डक्टर इज इन हिज क्लिनिक डक्टर आफ्नो क्लिनिकमा छ अब यसलाई हामीले यो कम्प्लिट सेन्टेन्स छ केले जोडेका छौं whose name I can never remember. यो एक्स्ट्रा सेन्टेन्स हो. John was reading the novel. Sentence is complete. Which was interesting. थपेको छ. The king deserves popularity. Whose life has been devoted to his country. यो एक्स्ट्रा इन्फर्मेसन्स भइहाल्यो. The band which was made up of 10 musicians played good music. यहाँ पनि एक्स्ट्रा इन्फर्मेसन यो नन डिफाइनिङ रिलेटिभ क्लज भयो. WS constructions who मान्छेको लागि for the persons subject को रूपमा आउँछ जो हुन्छ जसको मिनिङ which for things and animal को ठाउँमा युज गर्छौं जुन भइहाल्यो where for place whom for people is object को रूपमा हुन्छ यो whom for people तर यो के भइहाल्यो object को रूपमा यसलाई के गरिन्छ युज गरिन्छ who भनेको subject को रूपमा पर्सनको लागि र हुम भनेको अब्जेक्टको रूपमा, हुज भनेको पिपल तर पोसिसन कसैको उसमा संलग्नतामा, हिज आइडियाज, हुज आइडियाज, यस अथवा देयर आइडियाज, हिज बुक्स, हर बुक्स अथवा अपस्टपी, राम्स, हरिज, ज्याक्स, अफ यस्तो आउँछ। वाइ भनेको रिजन किन, वेन भनेको टाइम पिरियड। In this way, these WH constructions can be अथवा relative can be used. Complete the following sentences with the correct relative pronouns and write whether the clauses are defining or non-defining. So it's the first one, that is the house where I was born, no commas, it is defining relative clause. My aunt Nita, who is a journalist, is coming to visit next week, non-defining as use of comma. People who like outdoor activities will love our holidays, it is defining clause. The early 90s, when the battle first started, was very exciting time in a popular non-defining relative clause. My essay on Shakespeare joined by which and a comma use गरिएको छ non-defining relative clause. The man who lived in the Central America, यहाँ पनि यो पनि भयो non-defining. That is the girl whose brother is in your class, defining relative clause. The snake was in the garden last week, belongs to our next door neighbors, defining relative clause, no use of commas. Join the following pair of sentences. He is a musician whose albums have been sold millions. Amelia, who speaks English and Chinese fluently, is from Shanghai. That is the stadium where Real Madrid plays. Dublin is my favorite city, which is the capital of Ireland. The person to whom they spoke was really helpful. And the smartphone which I bought last week takes great photos. So this there is how the words are joined here. This question for practice. केही क्वेशनहरु यहाँ दिएको छ. You can practice these questions. Finally, Brown decided to retire. Wills had been sharing an office with. यस्तै यहाँ question number 2 छ, question 3 छ, question 4 छ. So join these pair of sentences with a relative clause and try to solve. Practice in your copies. If you find any difficulties by solving these questions, you can ask below in the comment sections. Some practice questions are given. Yes, so you can practice this question. If you face any difficulty regarding any questions, ask below in the comment section. अर्को पनि एउटा दिएको छ, एड एन एप्रोप्रिएट रिलेटिभ क्लज एन्ड कम्प्लिट दी सेन्टेन्सेस. जस्तो यहाँ दिएको छ एउटा मैले वन क्यान बी वेन आई क्यान डु फर अल अफ यु इज आई कुड नट वेट टु गेट ब्याक टु भेनिस. म भेनिस फिर्ता जान अथवा पर्खेर जान सक्दैनथे जहाँ के गरेको थिएँ. वेयर आई ह्याड कम्प्लिटेड माई मास्टर डिग्रिज, वेयर आई इज ह्याड पास्ट 3 इयर्स. यसरी के गर्ने, भ्यानिस भनेको प्लेस भइहाल्यो, यहाँ वेयर लेख्ने र यो सेन्टेन्सलाई कम्प्लिट गर्ने. त्यस्तै यो अरु पनि सेन्टेन्सहरु 2 को छ, 3 को छ, रिलेटिभ क्लज लेख्ने र सेन्टेन्स कम्प्लिट गर्ने. एन्ड यसमा पनि तपाईहरुले रिगार्डिङ दिस क्वेशन्स इफ यु फेस एनी प्रब्लम इज मेन्सन बिलो इन द कमेन्ट सेक्सन. आई विल ट्राई टु हेल्प यु एज सुन एज पोसिबल. इज छिटो भन्दा छिटो मैले सहयोग गर्नेछु, रिप्लाई दिनेछु. Then Leonardo da Vinci, a polymath, a Renaissance polymath genius is अथवा एउटा versatile उनी के थिए त genius पेन्टर थिए. तिनको बारेमा एउटा बायोग्राफी जस्तो लेख्ने भनेछ. लियोनार्डो दा विन्सी, born on April 5th, 15th, 1452, is arguably the most talented human beings who ever lived. Famed as a painter and sculptor, his expertise extended to architecture, painter, science, music, mathematician, and to anatomy, geology, botany. He was very well in several fields. Leonardo was lucky to live in Renaissance, Italy, age of genius, in which people no longer thought of themselves and inferior to the great figures of classical world. It was an age of unbounded optimism, hope अथवा hopeful and a belief of human capabilities. Leonardo lived in an age of city-state by the acting as a patterns अथवा एउटा पादरी जस्तो to creative arts writers by sponsoring works of art, and he has tremendous contributions to the world. He was Leonardo da Vinci. Then about Ornico, the great artist of Nepal, you can also write about the Ornico, a great scholar and artist of Nepal. So you can read this yourself. Ornico was not very not only very famous in Nepal but also in Tibet, China, Mongolia, as well as in Indonesia. During the 13th century, there was renowned emperor in the China called Kublai Khan. उनले यिनलाई तिब्बत लिएर गएका थिए, त्यहाँ स्तूपहरू बनाउन लगाए, अनि he was not only famous in Nepal but also in the China. यहाँ दिएको छ, अर्को proved himself genius with his works, and he was not only good at architecture but also painting and sculpture. He is considered as one of the heroes of Nepal who made the country proud. अर्नीको देन अबाउट ल्यान्सिङ ब्याङ्डेल, यिनको बारेमा पनि हाम्रो टेक्स्टमा डिल गरेको छ. सो वी क्यान इज राइट अ सर्ट बायोग्राफी अफ ल्यान्सिङ ब्याङ्डेल एज वेल एज ही इज अल्सो नोन एज Lan Bangdel Rai, who was Nepal's foremost artist and novelist art historian. Furthermore, he is known as the father of modern arts. He was responsible for introducing modern trends of Western art into the Nepal, which is also known as Bangdal era. उनको पिरियडलाई Bangdal era को रूपमा भनिन्छ. He was born in Darjeeling, India, studied in Kolkata until 1951, lived in London and Paris until 1961, and finally came to the homeland Nepal in 1961. He also served as life member's vice chancellor and finally chancellor of the Royal Nepal Academies. His artistic work served both to the interpret and to preserve the rich ancient culture of Nepal. His novels written early in his life altered the course of Nepali literature with their realistic descriptions and downtrodden Nepalese. To wrap up, as a painter, Bangdale achieved the last acclaim for his innovative leaderships and became well known as the father of modern art in Nepal. Taken from the Google-बाट यो उसमा विकिपीडियाबाट ल्यान्सिङ ब्याङ्डेलको बारेमा दिएको is Lansing Bangdale, the father of modern art. So guys, this is about the essay Why is the Renaissance important, and the grammatical sections relative clauses from Unit 11, Art and Christians. If you find this video helpful and interesting, like the video, share it, subscribe it, click on the bell icon to get notification from upcoming videos. Thank you for watching this. Goodbye. Have a good day.